Hi, this is David Stanko for AmericanSalon.com. Join me every other week to hear me interview industry celebs and other interesting folks.
Hello there, American Salon listeners. Here we are once again doing our amazing Masters series, and I have the pleasure to speak to one of my New York City buddies who is well known for looking at beauty as a whole picture. I'd like you to please meet Miss Eva Scrivo. Hello, Eva.
Hello, David. Nice to talk to you.
It's nice to talk to you. It's taken us a while to get it together, and I'm thrilled that you're part of this group. And for those of the listeners that aren't that familiar with the New York City scene, why don't you give us a little bio on who is Eva Scrivo? What is your specialty? What do you love? What do you want to be known for?
Well, I do cut and color. I'm one of the few people that do both. And I'm also a makeup artist. And I think that being a makeup artist helped me become a better colorist. And I learned to work with skin tone and eye color and hair color and how to really bring it all together very early on. I went to beauty school when I was 17, and I've been doing this my entire adult life. And I really most love working behind the chair and working with my team. I spent many years on photo shoots and, had the pleasure of working all over the world with a lot of high-profile clients. And I feel happiest in one of my salons. And I also have a salon on the Upper East Side now. And our flagship salon is where you can mostly find me, here on 20th and 5th Avenue in the Flatiron. But I really love working with hair, training my staff, designing, running my business, and working with the public.
So, Eva, what was your inspiration for your new space, for your new salon? And how are your clients responding to the new space?
Well, I've moved around a little bit in New York, and it happens when, you're working in a very high-profile, high-energy market. Real estate has gone through the roof here in New York, and it's very difficult to sign a long lease. And we had an amazing opportunity to relocate our salon that was on Bond Street for 9 years and relocate it to the Flatiron District. And it is an opportunity that came to me through actually my landlord, and he had asked me if I would consider relocating. And strangely enough, I had been looking for about 3 years, and I had chose the Flatiron because I wanted to be in a centrally located part of the city. We did a little bit of an analysis on our clientele, and under 10% came to me as a client that was in a 3 zip code area around Bond Street. So 90% of our clients came from all over. So we realized that we were a destination salon, which made me very happy. We weren't a neighborhood salon, and we wanted to be centrally located. So we kind of took an arrow in a map, and it landed right in the middle of the city, and that was Flatiron. So we thought, close to Grand Central, close to Penn Station, all the subways, on Fifth Avenue, and we wanted to be on the second floor. And I think a lot of salons, after starting on a first-floor space, we eventually moved to a second floor, not relying on walk-ins, of course, but just being able to control your environment. And it's much cleaner on the second floor, I'll tell you that. It's a lot less weirdos walking in. We wanted to kind of refine our space and move to a busy, bustling area where people could pop in and out with more frequency, and be on Fifth Avenue in New York. What's better than that?
Well, for those that aren't that familiar with Manhattan, the Flatiron Building is iconic New York City. It's in all the postcards and coasters and calendars, and it really is a cross-section of all the subways and closest to really the melting pot of New York City. So congratulations on taking on that location. That's fantastic.
We signed a long lease. So that was, I wanted to find a real home and secure my business in a centrally located, iconic area, as you said. And we're really excited to be here.
So is your academy in that location, Eva?
Yes, we have a Balayage Academy that focuses on the art and science of balayage. Every 4 to 6 weeks we have a class. It's all day on Monday. We have a network that we have developed, which is really exciting. After 3 classes, you can become part of the network. And that means that your bio, photograph, and salon website can live on our website. And when somebody wants a balayage artist, a client from anywhere in the world can go to our website and find a balayage artist in their area. So we also are blessed to work with Kerastase and Shu Uemura, and the students can now apply exclusive K points to education and come to my classes. So the academy's been very exciting. We just had a student come from Chile and one from Ecuador on my last class, which was just this last Monday. So we are attracting a wonderful array of students from all over the world.
Well, you and I have known each other for a number of years, and we've talked about balayage in previous interviews, and you actually have taught me a number of things, which I'll admit to you, I stole some of your information because that's what we do in the beauty business.
We all have our resources, right?
Right, and you were certainly one of mine when I was talking about balayage. But can you give me and the listener just top line? I know I'm catching you a little bit by surprise, but what are some of your key points for successful results as it relates to balayage?
Well, don't confuse balayage with hand painting. And don't confuse it with some freestyle art form that anybody can do. It's like any technical craft. It takes practice, and it takes an understanding of it from a technical standpoint. So whether you're cutting hair or coloring hair, everything looks easy when a professional does it, right? I think it's like ice skating. But when you actually start doing it, you realize that there's a lot of complexity to it. So we teach this in our classes, and one of the most important things I talk about is the consistency of the product. Most stylists don't use enough product, and they're not using an oil or a nice dense lightener. They're using either clay-based lighteners, which have a very limited lightening effect, or they're using powder bleaches and trying to turn them into balayage bleaches. So consistency and the creaminess of the product is very important, and also the amount of product that you use. So these are some of the tips that we go over in the classes. And of course, the list goes on. There's a laundry list of what it takes to be a great colorist, and the same goes for a balayage artist. So the brush stroke and, how to work like a painter. And we try to tap into the artist within each colorist when they come to our classes. And these are the same principles that I teach all my colorists at my salon, which I'm very proud to say after 15 years in business, every single one of my colorists is homegrown. They all started with me out of beauty school.
Wow, so congratulations.
Thank you, which is a miracle in this business. So we're very proud of our team right now, and all of our colorists are a part of the academy and teaching this unique art form.
Well, I think you make a good point about don't confuse hair painting with balayage, because I'm sure you'll agree there are so many nuances and subtleties that one has to master with balayage to be considered really good at it.
The goal of balayage for us is to achieve bright, clear blondes and anywhere from the most subtle sun-kissed highlights. So if a woman wants a bright, clear blonde, she has to typically use foils. And we have kind of reinvented the wheel with balayage, or even, let's say, enhanced or allowed it to evolve, that we can get very bright colors and very clear, crisp, shiny blondes with it. So it is a little bit of a different technique, and hand painting is really about applying color front and back and working with your hands and applying color in larger sections and kind of using it either as a pre-lightning method or a very subtle sun-kissed look. Balayage actually originated in, like 1940s in Paris, so it's a very classic technique opposed to a cultural trend.
Right. Now, I know you've written a book, and for those of you who have not read Eva's book, I would encourage you to get the Eva Scrivo on Beauty book, which is available in all the outlets where we can get books. And I know you have a great passion for reading. What are some of your favorite reads as of late, whether they're business or pleasure?
Well, they're Boys in the Boat is actually a really great, it's a true story. It's a great book about camaraderie and teamwork and working as a team. It's about a rowing team in the 1930s that went on to win an Olympic medal, and it's a great story about pain and suffering and everything it takes to become good at what you do and master a craft. And I think it applies to what we do as hair artists, as we are. It's a very physically demanding job that takes a lot of mental fortitude and focus. So I love reading things sometimes that are just completely different than myself or my work, to kind of take me out of myself for a moment and nurture myself in a way that hairdressing can't. So I have enjoyed that book.
Isn't it funny though, even though we try to get out of our own heads in our own profession, how I don't know about you, but I always seem to loop back and reapply the concepts that I've learned in different books to my everyday life, and that helps me grow as a professional as well.
It really does, and all business is very similar. Art is very similar. It just has different mediums and different applications. But if you can take many very basic principles in building a business, you can apply that to your clientele as well.
How many salons do you have, Eva, in New York?
I have one salon on Madison Avenue and 72nd Street. It's a satellite location. It's a 5-chair salon on the 3rd floor of a townhouse, and it's a beautiful area. Upper East Side I absolutely love it. I never thought I would be an Upper East Side girl, and I've made amazing friends and met new clients up there, and we have a darling location with a big terrace on up there on the Upper East Side. And then on our flagship salon, which we just opened a few months ago, is on 20th, right on 5th Avenue between 20th and 21st Streets. We're on the 2nd floor of a beautiful pre-war building, and our space was designed by Kara Mann, who is currently designing the Chelsea Hotel right now and who happens to be a client of mine. And we had a gut renovation. It was a completely raw space, and we designed it very much with a Parisian residential loft in mind. And we have Vanini chandeliers from the 50s hanging with beautiful handmade arches through the whole space to give a sense of history and romance and femininity to the space, because the space was very rectangular. It needed to be softened up. We are flooded with natural light, which as a colorist is like a dream to work in. And it makes, just you look at color in a whole new, fresh way. And we have facials and a lot of spa services done in the back of the space, with the middle of the space being designed kind of like reception and makeup and more of an administrative, relaxing area, and then all of the hairdressers near the front window.
Wow, that sounds beautiful the way you've described it. And isn't it amazing how the subtlety, of the branding from start to finish, from the chandeliers to just sort of the Renaissance period, really speaks volumes about what the experience will be like for the client. And by the way, I live on the upper.
Oh, you live on the
Upper East Side, so I'm going to have to pop in and check out your location.
Oh, I would love that. Well, we recently just had a flood, if you can believe that, on the Upper East Side. Our neighbor above us left. I mean, it wasn't her fault by any means, but a water heater was left leaking overnight, and we are renovating it right now. So, give me a few weeks. We did have to temporarily close it, but it gave us an opportunity just to, redesign it a little bit. So I'm so inspired from working with such a top designer and architect on our Fifth Avenue. I'm applying it to Madison right now. So we'll be reopening on April 1st.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's right around the corner for spring, huh?
Yeah, I know. We're excited.
So how do some of your new clients or some of your high-profile clientele, how do they find your salon? Would you say that it's word of mouth, or do you have a strategic plan in place that attracts these folks?
Well, my greatest business tool, I feel, has always been word of mouth and friends telling friends. And I built my entire business based on where I started, which was my apartment on a fourth-floor walk-up in the East Village. And I built such a strong clientele from the work. Hopefully, it's always about the work, creating the best experience. But really having my clients become walking advertisements for me was the only business tool I really had. This was before social media, before PR companies were even an affordable concept at the time. Now I have all those things because I have to build other, junior stylists and emerging artists with us. But in the beginning, it was just me. And I really feel that the most important way to build a business is to have your clients work for you and get them excited, have them always have something to look forward to, teach them how to style their own hair, work with products so that beyond the salon their hair looks great and they can be these walking advertisements for you, and they only are too happy to tell the world about you. To this day, my clients are always referring their friends and their bosses and coworkers and family members, and I think that is the greatest advertisement of all. I think high-profile people really vet you. They really need to see your work. They're not going to take a chance on you.
Right.
One high-profile client that I have now who I adore, she's been a client for 10 years. She has her own show called Full Frontal, Samantha B. She is one of the first female comedians in late-night television to have her own show. She's on TBS every Monday at 10:30. But she's been a cut and color client for 10 years. And I'm doing her makeup, and I'm getting her ready for each show, which is starting on Monday, but it just got picked up. So, I think a lot of these women, I've had relationships with them for many years, and I do their kids' hair and their husbands, and maybe not personally, but they all come to the salon. So it's really about how to build those long-term relationships and grow with your clients.
So can you please tell the younger listeners, those that might still be in beauty school or graduating or 1 to 4 months out of school, that you don't come out of school and make $200,000 a year and be a star? Can you please help me with that?
Yes. Well, with reality television and social media and YouTube stars, it can be extremely distorting for the young professional of what is attainable and what is the process to get there. And it's like anything great in life that's worth achieving, it takes hard work. So whatever your profession is, you're going to have to put the time in. And there's a book called 10,000 Hours, and that, I think, is a great reality check on what it takes to master something. and it's a very inspirational book I recommend for any young professional. What I would say to, don't be distracted and romanced or seduced by technology, because this is an artisanal craft and it's done with your hands. Thank God a computer cannot cut or color our hair. Thank God, that's why it's also a really great profession to choose. But choose a salon that has a strong educational program and look at it as your graduate school, okay? Nobody makes great money if they just have a college education anymore. They need to go to business school or graduate school or take, some type of courses outside of that basic 4 years. So cosmetology is your basic 4-year education, and you're going to need to go to business school. And that's your apprenticeship program. So if you go through the apprenticeship program, which is another 2 years at any salon, you are going to catapult yourself into a completely different income bracket, because you're not being thrown into a chair to develop bad habits that are impossible to break and, basically being trapped, at a $50 to $75 haircut range.
Wow, you've really given some great information for your whole
career, by the way. Yeah.
You really gave some great info, from balayage tips to have your clients work for you. I think that is just fantastic. And also to clarify, thinking of apprenticing or assisting as your undergrad, and then really just putting the time in to work at your craft. No one can take that away from us once you have a really good mastery of it.
Absolutely. The biggest mistake is that people think that we are born with a gift. Now, the gift is having good taste, having a great eye, being able to scrutinize your own work, maybe being very fashionable, having good taste. But the gift, you're not born with a technical craft. It has to be, it's like piano playing. You might, be born to be musically inclined, but you have to practice the piano. So the more understanding of that, the more respect we have for our industry, because it truly is a craft, and you've got to put the time in. There are no shortcuts to success.
That's right. And please, look pretty. Have pretty hair. Don't
yes,
shave
I think
your
if
hair.
You do hair, you should do your own hair.
So you should do your own, and do it before you get to work.
I know.
I have a friend that says, sorry, go ahead.
I think that, because we're around hair dryers and makeup and we touch people all day long, we sometimes lose the boundary that it's important to get ready before you get to work, and you might as well just do it there. But, it's so important to set yourself up for success and, start your day as the professional that you are, and you will attract the right client if you're the right kind of professional.
I have a friend that says we are the only industry that gets ready for work at work.
That is so true. That is hilarious. And especially in New York, when people are on subways and, they go through hell and high water just before they get to work. Just to get to work, it takes, it's an army, to get here. So it's like the Hajj, coming from certain areas. And so I totally get it.
Oh, Eva, you've been lovely to speak with, and you've given us and the listeners some really good tips and advice. I wish you the best of luck with all the salons. I hope the water problem clears up so I can come and visit. And
yes,
you have
come in April.
You have joined this elite group of interviewees, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time to speak to us and American Salon, and I know that the listener will gain a lot from you. So, Eva, thank you so much for being in our profession.
Thank you, David, and you are lovely and funny and so talented, and I feel honored that you made me a part of this today, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, American Salon listeners, stay tuned for our next version, and until then, Miss Eva Scrivo was able to hang out with us, so take care and make people beautiful, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.